Wow, wow, wow. What can I say? Can you believe it's been a whole year? And what a year it's been. Friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, welcome to the shop in 2025. When you're my age, time flies. I mean, it's like it's fall. Hola, ¿cómo está? Yeah, that's how quickly. Look at that thing. She was like 1 year old yesterday. Not anymore. Where to begin? There's so much to talk about. What's up, Bob? Bob number two. Well, an eventful year, to say the least. There's a million things to talk about. Here's a sweet thing. This is a stainless steel sheet that I powder coated. It's got this viscous material in between, constrained layer dampings. That's the whole shtick. I'll tell you more about it. There's a reason there's a bolt there too. That's still ongoing, but it's almost done. So let's get back to that. Maybe not today. And regarding bad things, I've actually replaced the spindle on this machine, believe it or not. So the good thing about this spindle is it's a cassette, so it's like 8 or 12 bolts, and you can remove the bearings and all of that stuff and replace it. Awesome when that day comes. My problem was that it wasn't that problem. It started leaking coolant from the backside of the spindle. And more than likely it's my fault. I've used coolant in various systems throughout my life, water-cooled computers and whatnot. And supposedly you're not even able to buy a type that is corrosive to aluminum engines in Sweden. They have phased those out. Yeah, we got two printers here. I got a rather big job that warranted at least one, and then the second one to be able to finish on time. I'm not going to talk too much about these. These are great. I mean, amazing machines. But you know, there's a gazillion videos online about these Bamboo Labs X1 carbons and yada yada. So yeah, where was I? Yeah. So probably over time, some additive in there has been eating away at the aluminum housing of the spindle. So of course I called Jacob in a pure panic. I need some help, save me. And of course the day after, not DHL, FedEx was here with a new spindle, and we kept talking on the phone, and he was like, do you feel comfortable replacing it yourself? And I really honestly didn't, because look at this stuff. And mind you, I'm running a business at the same time. There's a gazillion wires and everything in there. I don't even know where to begin, honestly. But they arranged so that I could have a technician here the following Monday. That's really fast and everything. So to prepare, they asked me if I had all the right tools so that the guy wouldn't have to check in another bag on the flight. Really clever. So I made sure I had all the right tools and everything. They even sent over a dial indicator. I already had one of those, of course, but still super nice. And I thought, to save time, this was during the weekend, so I thought, why don't you just take a few pictures and I'll mark all the hoses and everything so it's ready to go. And then I thought, I have the tools, so I might as well remove the existing one so that it's really quick to install the new. But having removed the old one made me realize just what the whole ordeal was, what it would mean to install the new one, because I saw what the idea was. I can do it. I can do it. I can actually do it. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just hang it there loosely with a few bolts. But you know, eventually I had already installed it, and the plane hadn't left yet. It was a few hours left. So I had to call Jacob and tell him, you can't send the guy because he's gonna arrive and I'm gonna be like, oh, look what I did, and he's gonna, you know, turn around at the door. So I had the arrangement of the perpendicularity of the spindle to the table and all that, but that wasn't really a big deal. I talked to Adrian and he just gave me a few hints, so that was rather uneventful. And honestly, right now, I've never been this comfortable with the machine, because if I ever get a spindle problem in the future, not only can I change the cartridge, I can change the entire spindle in quite rapid succession. So that's great. Regarding the robot, then of course, I'm using it daily, every day, and it's wonderful, wonderful. And I'm running a lot from home during nights, evenings, weekends. I can't quite remember where we were in the last video because it's been over a year, but I added this because the whole shtick with lifting more than one sheet at a time, that's like a real problem. And if you talk to like an integrator, robotic integrator, they're gonna tell you to go find one of these measurement devices. Maybe I've got a few videos of examples there.
If for some reason sheets still stick together, we have a double sheet detection that will alert you when this accidentally happens. Quite smart, what do you think?
All that does is measure the thickness to confirm that it's just one. But what happens if it's two? Then you're stuck. Then this robot's just gonna be waiting there for the other sheet to fall off. And what? Are you gonna try to make it back to the stack? Terrible idea. So, what I started off doing, I installed a laser sensor there so that when I go down, first I measure this stack with a ultrasonic sensor like I typically do, but then also as I'm moving down, the sensor from the side here is measuring the position of the Z height on the way down, and then it does the same thing on the way up. And preferably the difference should only be one sheet thickness. Of course, there's gonna be some flex in the tool and the robot arm and everything, since, you know, there's more weight, so you gotta adjust for that. That worked amazing. Almost amazing. Was perfect for 3, 4, and 5 millimeters. 2 millimeters, most of the time it was fine. It's just that 2 millimeters, sometimes you can get 4 or 5 or even 6 sheets. And that added weight is quite a lot. So my adjustments for, you know, sensing heights got off a little wonky, especially when a few of them dropped off while measuring. So I had to re-measure a bunch of times, and yeah, that wasn't optimal. So as usual, talking to my neighbor here, we brainstormed a bit, and he asked about, you know, the possibility of measuring the torque of the motors, and I knew that function existed. It's just that I was so early in my robotic journey, I just disregarded it because that's way too advanced for me. Turns out it isn't. So from my version of RobotWare and up, there's this function like get motor torque. So exactly like you're thinking right now, it's super simple. So I'm measuring the torque of this motor, effectively weighing the sheets, right? So I move slowly up and then a little bit more, and then I just sample, I don't know, 10, 20 times, and I average that. And if that is over the threshold, then just go down, wait for like 5 seconds and try again. That means we're never leaving this stack until it's just one sheet. Why? doesn't everybody do that? That is easily the best way to go about it. I loved it so much that even over here, typically I let go of the sheet and I blow air from underneath, and then I just use the friction of the suction cups to push it up to the pop-up pins. That has worked 100%, like 100%. Except if I have cut up this sheet and I'm having the robot load another sheet, the air that comes through there, it just escapes through those channels rather than giving it a air cushion to ride on. That's not a problem when I'm not here, because there's always a fresh sheet. But when I'm here and I'm using a cut up sheet, that's when it might not be dragged all the way to the stop pins, depending on the orientation where it's cut up and whatnot. So I actually implemented the same feature here. So I come down and I go to the left, in this direction, and I'm sensing with the first axis the torque, so that it knows, oh, that's the stop because the torque went up. Then I back off just so that we remove the slack in the system, and then I go and do the same in this direction, but using this axis and this axis. And that's a gotcha right there, because imagine you're pushing this way. This, well, at my knuckle there, that motor is gonna sense more and more load as we push against a stop. But this motor is actually gonna sense less of a torque, since we're pushing and we're removing the weight of the arm by pushing on it. So that's it. So I was averaging the values between those two, and I thought it was pretty aggressive, even though I, lowered it quite a bit. So it took a while for me to realize that I'm actually removing the weight of the robot arm itself. So it equally, well, not equally, but almost equally canceling each other out. So it took a while before, it knew that it was all the way there. And of course, I forgot to run the robot. I was supposed to do that. We'll see. Let's go with a 3mm. And this is up and running. It's working. You can probably see that it's changing color, and the robot is stopping whenever it senses something, and it continues automatically. I just wanted to throw this in there because I'm probably just going to show you video from this security camera when I'm at home. It goes down, measures the height of the stack. You can see that it's lifting more than one right now, and I think, yeah, all the other ones fell off right there. Right now it's measuring the torque on the motor so that it knows that it's just one sheet. And yeah, the speed is much higher now than it used to be. So here we go. You're gonna see it's gonna put it down there, and we're gonna move in this direction, sensing the hard stop there. It's gonna remove the flex. It's gonna do the same thing, but in that direction, and it's gonna, park itself. This works spectacularly every time. High five, sir. That's the adventures of robotics. Super fun. Love every second of it. And there's still a bunch of things to do with it, but I'm definitely using it every day as I intended it to do. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I actually got invited to ABB Robotics to be a guest speaker on the topic of starting out with robotic automation. How cool is that? That's really awesome. Maybe I'll show you the video, because the whole thing is you go there and you show off your what you have done with robotics and stuff, and it's quite corporate. The other guys were, as I expected, PowerPoint proper and stuff. I'm not wired that way, and I didn't see that as a negative. On the opposite, I wanted to be quite different and personal, because it was more of a show and tell at school for me. So it was really fun, really amazingly fun. I showed them how I run from home, and different levels of automation. So starting off just in my garage, and starting off with the first little router that I built and upgrading it, and then this thing with double tables, and eventually the robot, and that makes it so that it's fully autonomous at times. So super fun. Okay. The whole AI thing, it's amazing, and especially the last few weeks it has ramped up again. So the intelligence of these agents, especially the ones you can run at home. Well, I bought two RTX 3090s so that I can run the 70 billion parameter models at home, and I've built this new ordering system that works. So yeah, maybe I should mention that I'm looking for options to adding more tools for the machine, and that comes because of I'm not really using this table. You see, it's like the world's most expensive shelf. But of course I could do this whole linear rect thing and just keep a bunch of them here. I don't want to do a permanent thing because I'm going to lower the value of it and yada yada, and also it's nice to have this work area when I need it, and I'm also always going to be needing to access this the T-track there. And I thought about having double of these, having them on an actuator moving back and forth, because there's already air here for opening and closing, so that could move it back and forth. That would work, but I will only get 12 more tools. So my idea right now is to have a carousel here. That would give me 48 tools here and another 12 over there, so that's 60 tools. And to make that happen, I could just buy the fourth axis as it is, because that's going to be able to take the torsional stresses. There's some fat beams under here that I could just bolt it onto there on a fat L bracket thing and just connect it, because this is already prepared for fourth axis. And I'm not going to use the fourth axis for fourth axis stuff. I realized that because I can, but I shouldn't, because I'm not going to make any money on it, and that could be fun, but I don't have time for all of that stuff, maybe in another life. So I might as well use it for a massive fourth axis. Hopefully I've shown you a few clips there from the 3D model there. We'll see. I might not do that. Depends on what the Kimagath says is feasible, but I think it should be quite easy, because everything's ready to go, and I'm gonna use the air that's opening and closing this thing to open and close the hatch for the carousel there. 2 stories, and it's not gonna collide with the suction cup or anything, so super cool. Here we are, loading in new 4mm thick material. So I made this little program that asks you how many sheets you have. You use a sheet that you picked up from the table to place on top of the pile so that you know exactly where it's located. And for every iteration, it removes the thickness of the material there and it adds it over there so that the heights, you know, are correct. I think I did a too deep a pass. Holy crap, that was violent.